Hello students, today we are going to discuss from the chapter Microorganism, Friend and Foe. Till now we studied about the various type of microorganism and how microorganisms are used in making bread, vaccines, alcohol, antibiotics, etc. This was the friendly side of the microorganism. Now, how can a microorganism harm us? That we'll be studying today. And we'll also be studying about how your food can be preserved from all these microorganisms causing harm to it. In the previous video, we studied about what are known as pathogens. So, the pathogens are the microorganism that causes diseases, that causes food poison, that cause the food so bad, that makes the food so bad that you cannot consume it, or it makes you feel ill. So, the microorganism that make you feel ill is known as the pathogens. And we also studied about the communicable and non-communicable diseases. Today we'll be studying about the disease that are caused by the microbes or by the mosquito. Anopheles mosquito and Aedes mosquito. The female Anopheles mosquito cause you to have malaria, and the Aedes mosquito cause you to have dengue. So these are the disease now which is prominent during the rainy seasons. Why? During the rainy season the mosquito increases, and because of which there are more chances of mosquito biting a person and causing to spread this disease. So we'll be learning about how these mosquitoes spread the disease. So these are the two mosquitoes that spread the disease, the female Anopheles mosquito and the Aedes mosquito. So the female Anopheles mosquito spreads which disease? Yes, it spreads malaria. And the Aedes mosquito spreads which disease? Yes, it spreads dengue. So how does these mosquito inject the microorganism into our body? How does it infect our body? Let's see it. So as you can see here a mosquito has been injecting some microorganism inside the body. So that microorganism is carried to the liver where they grow in number. They grow in number and affect the blood cells, and they infect the blood cells. That's why after 2 to 3 days you started showing the symptoms of malaria. You start having chill. So when these blood cells gets affected, when your body gets affected, you started showing symptoms. And when the other mosquito comes and takes blood from the infected body, it carries those infection within itself, and when it goes to the other, when it goes to inject or to take blood from other person's body, it injects those microorganism in that body, and the same cycle continues. So that's why you are advised to take care of yourself during the rainy season, that the mosquito do not bite. If the mosquito bite, there are chances you may get infected with this this diseases. Till now we studied about how the microorganism harm the human body. Let's see how the microorganism harms plant. So the microorganism also causes plant to have diseases. The diseases like rice, in plants like rice, wheat, potato, sugarcane, all get affected by these microorganisms. As you can see here, this fruit is observed as it is rotten. It is affected by the microorganism. These leaves are get affected by the microorganism. So these microorganism affects also, it affects the plant. And to remove these microorganisms, what do we use? We use chemicals to kill these microorganisms. So the microorganism that causes disease to humans as well as plants, these are some of the microorganisms that causes disease to humans. For example, the chickenpox is caused by the virus, so it is spread by air or contact. The polio is caused by virus. The measles is caused by virus. Hepatitis B is caused by virus. Here, the mode of transmission. Mode of transmission means the way by which the disease was spread. Like for example, the chickenpox can be spread by air or by you when you touch a person who is having chickenpox. Polio can be spread by air or by water. Measles can be spread by air. Hepatitis B is spread by using infected water. Now for diseases like tuberculosis, typhoid and cholera, they are caused by bacteria, but their mode of transmission is different. For example, the tuberculosis, it affects your lung, so the mode of transmission is through air. The typhoid is through water. The cholera is for water and food. As you can see here, the typhoid and cholera mainly affects your digestive system. So because of this, the causative agent also, or the mode by which the microorganism is transferred, is also something related to water or food. Now the next is malaria, as we had discussed earlier. They are spread by the protozoans, and the protozoans cause the disease and they are spread by the mosquito. For plants, the diseases are citrus canker, rust of wheat and yellow mosaic. So citrus canker is spread by the bacteria, they are spread by air. Rust of wheat is also spread by air, which is caused by a fungi. And yellow mosaic, it affects the okra. It is affected by the virus, and which is also transmitted by water. Now, as you can see, the microorganism can affect the plant also. So what happens to the food we eat? The microorganism can affect that also. What happens when you keep your food without touching it for a longer period of time? You see some white microorganism or white thing growing over it. They are the microorganism that grow above the food when you don't use it or when you don't have it for a longer period of time. So how to prevent these microorganisms from growing? There are many methods that are used for preventing microorganisms from growing. The traditional methods are drying, cooling, freezing, boiling, heating, salting, sugaring, smoking, pickling, canning, gelling. These are some of the traditional methods. These are the older methods that were used and that are still being used. But the industrial methods, the main methods that we use for milk and for our food are pasteurization, vacuum packing, and many others. So these are the traditional and modern methods that you use to preserve the food. So let's now just see the traditional method. One of the traditional method is drying. So you might have seen your parents drying the chips for you, or drying the mangoes for making pickles. So what does this drying do? In this drying, you keep the food item in an open sun and you allow it to dry, all the moisture to be taken out from the substance, and you allow it to dry. So when the moisture is out of the substance, what will happen? the microorganism will not be able to attack it, and you can use it in longer run. The next are the chemical methods. By we use the salt, we use sugar, we use oil or vinegar, or we use cold treatment. So chemical methods means, for example, when you make a pickle or jam or squash, you add many chemicals. Like for making pickles, you add vinegar. So for preserving it for a longer time, you add, means for a longer time it do not get affected by any of the microorganism, you add vinegar. So some of the chemicals that you add in the food, that method of adding chemical is known as the chemical method. The second method is using common salt. Still now people use this method. They put wrap the food with the common salt and they keep it for a longer period of time. Because of the salt, it doesn't allow the growth of microorganism over it. By using sugar for food items like jams and jellies, sugar solution is used so that the microbes don't grow in it. By using oil, yes, but for pickles we use oil so that it doesn't get damaged. By heat treatment, for example, the best example is drying. You dry a food, then you use it. So when you heat it, it doesn't get damaged. And by cold treatment, here the food is being freezed. Nowadays you get frozen food. So these frozen food also, this freeze, microorganism cannot grow below a certain level. So when it's freeze, the microorganism cannot grow inside it. So these are some of the food preservation methods we studied. We studied about the pathogens that cause diseases in plants and animals and some of the food preservation methods. I hope you all understood. Thank you.